Hello, I'm Austin Wilson, co-portfolio manager at Hixon Zuercher Capital Management.
I'm Chase Rose, associate wealth advisor at Hixon Zuercher Capital Management. We are here to give you a market and economic update for the month of
November, looking back at October?
November, looking at October. It's hard to say, yeah.
So that's October.
Time is just going by so fast.
These news stories are going to encompass the beginning of November
As
and
well.
October.
Yeah,
Okay.
spoiler alert.
So October, guess what? We had some really great months for a long time. We're having a really good year. Just an okay-ish, flattish kind of month, right? Overall, markets were a little choppy during the month of October. More on that later. But the S&P 500 was up 0.01%. So
wow.
That's a nice gain. The Dow was down 0.85%. The NASDAQ was up 1.05%. Small caps up 0.03%. So they eked out 3 times the gain in the S&P 500. Look at that. Developed international stocks down 4.47%. Emerging market stocks, ironically, down the exact same to the 2 decimal places, down 4.47%. And bonds were down 2.77%. So choppy month. Leading up to this, we've had some really great months. So a little bit of a pause, a little bit of a reset, a little of uncertainty of things we're going to be talking about soon. Maybe fed into that a little bit. So yeah, that's where we were in October.
All right. Also in October, Hurricane Milton made landfall earlier this month.
Who names these things? Come on.
Yeah. Well, there's a method to the madness.
It's like letter by letter.
Yeah, that's right. So Hurricane Milton made landfall earlier this month in Siesta Key, Florida. It was just
beautiful place.
A week or so after Hurricane Helene came in and just rocked the eastern U.S. Estimates say that Hurricane Milton led to over 30 deaths and caused over $35 billion in damages. So certainly a rough month of September and October for Florida residents and all the way up into North Carolina, I think.
Flooding like crazy.
A ton of flooding, yeah. So unfortunate events, but we're going to try to keep it positive from here on out. So this marks the positiveness.
So positivity. Let's focus on some positivities. Seasonality.
Mm-hmm.
Some would say, in fact, historical data would suggest that we are in the most wonderful time of the year when it comes to the market.
You're going to start hearing that song so much.
It's the most wonderful time of the year. So today, we're sitting here in November. We have November and December ahead, the 2 best months of the year in terms of stock market. October typically pretty good as well. It can be choppy in an election year, but more on that later. But yeah, this is the best couple month period of the year coming up for stocks. And we, as people working in the industry, and you, as our clients and friends, probably could be looking forward to that.
Yeah, I don't think I'm spoiling your next story, but typically speaking, in election years, October is negative on average.
And it was just barely positive.
Just barely positive. So that is, I guess, when with all things considered, was a good month.
It was definitely volatile, but yes, we did eke out a small gain.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. A California police department spent $153,000, those taxpayer
dollars, which they have a lot of taxpayer dollars.
They do. High tax rate, high
taxes.
state tax.
A lot of people, a lot of tax.
And what did they spend this $153,000?
I know the answer, so I'm not going to ruin it.
A Tesla Cybertruck.
I mean,
the first Cybertruck purchased for
police use
in America. Instead of using this Cybertruck, which is supposedly bulletproof and like all the things, instead of using the Cybertruck for police-related activities, they're instead using it to jazz up some anti-drug events at schools under the DARE program. So,
well, that's worth $150,000.
I know. Well, I mean, I can't think of a better way to make kids not do drugs than showing up with a Tesla Cybertruck.
I mean, okay.
Tell me how that makes any sense.
It doesn't make.
It doesn't make any sense.
The Cybertruck's unique. There's one in town. There's one here in Findlay, by the way.
I saw it yesterday. If you happen to have that Tesla Cybertruck, stop by. I'd love to take a ride.
I would love to take a ride. I think they have an interesting and unique look. Maybe it's not for everyone. Yeah. Maybe it's not for me. But I can see why you wouldn't want to use that as a police vehicle, right? Think about this. Like, you've been cruising around all day. You get into a high-speed chase, and it's a fast truck. Let me give you that. They're a fast truck. But like 10 miles into the chase, you're like, I'm out of battery. Hold on. Can you wait for 30 minutes? I gotta go charge.
Same could be said for a police car running out of gas. I know. And I'm sure, however long into this police chase, there would be reinforcements show up. So
the criminals just need to know, you got to bring those metal ball bearings and throw them at the windows.
Yeah.
And you're good to go. All right. Tesla Cybertruck. So we talked about it a little bit. There was an election.
There was.
Did you know there was a presidential election
There was.
on November the 5th?
I'm personally just excited to no longer see ads anymore. I'm sure you.
My YouTube feed, which you may be watching this on right now, hopefully you didn't get a political ad before this because the election's over.
Yes.
So yeah, Donald Trump, former President Donald Trump, defeated Vice President Kamala Harris with the necessary. I don't have an exact number because we have a pretty good guess.
Yeah.
But he had more than 270. He will have more than 270 electoral college votes. That's a lot, and he pretty much won all the swing states, which was a big change from 2020's results. An interesting note is that he is the first former president since Grover Cleveland to become president in non-sequential term. So, and I think it's actually only happened 3 times, including him maybe in history. So not a common thing for a president to have a presidency, not win the next election, and then come back and win again. But he did. Also, I guess on more notes about the election, it's looking like the Republicans are going to sweep everything. So it was no surprise that they were going to maintain control of the Senate, and they actually gained a couple seats there, I think. But they're also in the process of the votes being counted and finalized. But
The House is still, I think it's still a coin flip at this point, but
it seems likely that it's going to go majority red. So that would mean the Republicans would maintain the Senate, gain the House, and gain the White House.
Yeah.
So it's a pretty big change of our political landscape.
Absolutely.
But I'm with you on the ads.
Yeah,
Whew.
I'm just ready for that to be over. I don't
Yeah.
even care at this point. I just want that to be gone. So speaking of presidents, on October 1st, Jimmy Carter, who went into hospice over a year ago.
Over a year ago. That's a long
and
time in hospital.
Still kicking.
Yeah.
On October 1st, he turned 100.
That's a lot of years.
He is the longest living president in our country's history and now the first to reach the century mark. And I do, just because he's been alive for so long, I have a few interesting trivia facts that I'm going to be asking Mr. Wilson today about the year in which Jimmy Carter was born. Now, can you do the math?
1924.
Okay, I was going to ask if you could do the math.
That's pretty good math.
That is very good.
I can take a 1 off of something. Yeah.
Well, you have to subtract a 1 from 20, which is a little
challenging.
challenging.
I did it. Step 1 complete. We'll see.
Proud of you.
I didn't even have to use Excel.
Yeah. All right. So can you tell me in 1924 who was the president? His first and last name start with the same letters.
Herbert Hoover?
No. No. I had to look because I don't even recognize the name.
1924.
Calvin Coolidge.
Okay. I'm thinking like post World War I, pre-Depression.
Yeah. Exactly. All right. So I have 5 trivia questions. We're going to try to keep this quick. But
Yeah.
Jimmy Carter's beloved Atlanta Braves
Yeah.
were still playing ball in their original city. What city was that?
Was it in Georgia?
It was not.
Then that made I have no
Boston,
idea.
Massachusetts.
That is so interesting.
I know, right?
Is this pre-Sox? Or the Sox were somewhere else?
I'm not 100%. I didn't look into
Okay.
it.
Yeah.
Okay. Pressed for time here. In November of 1924, just a month and a half after Jimmy Carter was born, this annual New York City tradition was held for the first time.
The marathon.
No.
No.
No, the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade.
Oh, that's a good one.
I know,
That's
right?
a good one.
Yeah. All right. Now, another event. So a globally renowned event was held for the first time in January and February of 1924.
The World Fair.
The Winter Olympics. You're saying these answers with so much confidence. I respect that. The Winter Olympics was held in France for the first time ever.
I can take 100 off of something. That's about it.
Yeah.
The Winter Olympics.
Last one. So this is more in your wheelhouse.
Okay.
As a portfolio manager. The Computing, Tabulating, Recording Company.
Tabulating, recording.
Now
company.
known under a different name with a market cap of $200 billion, was renamed to this name.
IBM.
Correct.
International Business Machine.
1 out of 5.
1 out of 5. Okay, yeah. That's interesting.
Congratulations.
I did not know the roaring 20s as well as I would have anticipated, but hey, that's good to know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Speaking of the 20s, it's 2024, and in October 2024, the unemployment rate was unchanged from the month before. 4.1%. The interesting thing, though, we only added about 10,000 jobs in the month, and that was far shy of the 100 and some thousand estimate that economists had predicted. But one thing that they really hadn't factored into their considerations was the hurricane that Chase talked
I
about
thought
just
you
a
were
little bit ago. It
talking
was Chase
about-
Rose. Chase Rose here. But the hurricane, and actually 2 hurricanes that really wrecked the South over that month, kind of put a dent into the whole job creation. So I bet we'll see some seasonal adjustments kind of coming back here pretty soon.
A new product to introduce you to, Mr. Wilson.
Bring it.
And actually, ironically, it is an Austin-based startup. So Austin Tech,
Great name.
under the name Throne, is the name of this startup company. Specializes in a new type of healthcare technology.
Ooh, I like healthcare technology.
We'll see if you do in a second. Their primary product is a camera that attaches to your toilet and takes pictures of your poop.
That's the primary product.
That is, I think, the
Would
only
you call
product.
that maybe a secondary product?
That's a good one. So Throne calls their product artificial gut intelligence. So
Okay.
they are participating in the AI.
It's AI.
the
They're using NVIDIA chips in that toilet.
Yeah, so there's a lot that we can learn, it turns out, from our fecal matter and urine.
Yeah.
So their technology is able to analyze your number 1 and your number 2 to determine if there are any health concerns that you should be aware about.
So get your pre-order in now.
Pre-order now. And buy your stock while you can. It's going to the moon.
Thrown to the moon.
Thrown to the moon.
I don't know. Yeah, I just put a new toilet in. It was like a couple $100.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm gonna splurge now for the Throne. There's probably an app.
Imagine how much it could save you long-term in healthcare costs.
Oh, I don't know how you can afford not to.
Exactly.
I mean, if you want to share a stock, they should just give you a toilet for free.
It's not a toilet. It's a toilet. It's a camera that attaches to a toilet.
Oh, if it's not built in, I don't want it.
Why?
I don't know. I
It
feel
can
like
go
those-
on any toilet.
Hey,
I'm not marketing their product, by the way. I'm not
Chase has a side gig.
I'm not a
He's
user.
selling toilet cameras.
I'm just trying to convince Austin. I think he might need it. I've seen some things that you eat. You could probably use the help.
On that note, the Los Angeles Dodgers won. I mean, some people may think that that's a no for them.
They're normally toilet when it comes to postseason.
Yeah, they did really well this year. They won the World Series in 5 games, overcoming a 5-run deficit with the help of some errors, of course,
Sure.
to beat the New York Yankees 7-6. So
5 games, 4-1 was what the final game tally was.
Yep.
So for those of you who aren't aware, Major League Baseball and NBA as well, they do a best of 7 World Series.
Correct.
So they won 4 out of 5 games.
Yep. It was looking likely for a while.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, after game 2, I think the Yankees lost hope. It's some pretty controversial acts of violence, some would say, during the game 4. There was a Yankee fan who was in the crowd. A Dodger fan jumped up and caught a foul ball that was in the stands. And the Yankee guy grabbed his glove and wouldn't let him leave and yanked the ball out.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Bold move, my friend.
He got banned.
He got
as
jacked.
Yeah, as you might be able to predict.
Interesting. So there's the Dodgers.
Yeah, the Dodgers. I'm not a big Dodgers fan, so I'm not a big fan of that. All right, now it's time for the Florida news story of the month.
Everyone's favorite segment.
Everyone's favorite song. I think it's actually normally down here.
Ash is going to put something right there.
Yeah, we'll see. She's actually really good at. She throws in links sometimes.
Oh, I
She
know.
Throws in like the headlines.
She could probably draw hats on it
Yeah,
or something
probably
like
if
that.
she wanted to.
Yeah. Mustache. That's what I want.
Tipping my cap right here. All right. So police officers were called to a residence in Niceville, Florida, to assist firefighters. The residence in question was protruding smoke and gave off a burning smell, which is why the firefighters showed up.
Logical.
A man answered the door and immediately apologized and shut the door after officers observed that he was naked.
And a fire.
And yeah,
A bad combination.
so he was naked. The man answered the door a second time because, as you can
probably put some clothes
imagine,
on.
they were trying to pound on the door. No, he came back and he was still naked. So officers detained him and gave him some pants, took him outside where he was safe. The man did admit that he had consumed 2 liters of vodka and had been smoking marijuana.
Okay.
And the fire department determined that this man in question was baking chocolate chip cookies on a George Foreman grill and left the George Foreman grill unattended, which subsequently caught fire. And what's the best way to put out a fire? Just throw some towels over it.
Yeah.
The towels caught fire too. So
Yeah.
he was just engulfed in flames in his kitchen.
But he was happy. He didn't care.
He didn't realize that his house was about to burn down. So luckily they showed up. I don't know why he's doing this naked. That's my question.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's your Florida news story of the month.
Only in Florida, my friends. Only in Florida. Well, as we said earlier, Austin and Chase here with Hixon Zuercher Capital Management. Please remember, nothing we talked about is a recommendation, but if you have any questions about your financial situation, financial plan, strategy, anything, give us a call, 419-425-2400, or email us at hello@hzcapital.com. And until next month, have a good one.
See ya.
Bye.